Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs podcast? Welcome to the Chiefs Blitz Podcast, brought to you by ChiefsBlitz.com, your top source for Chiefs news. Our podcast is produced by Bowtie Sports and hosted by Nick Athan, Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, Hense Todd, and special contributor, Fox 4 sports reporter and anchor, Harold Kuntz. Please like and subscribe to our show. Now let's talk Kansas City Chiefs football.
Football is back. Welcome to the next edition of the ChiefsBlitz.com podcast. I'm your host, Nick Athan, along with Lou Montagna and Hense Todd, the three amigos, today as we talk about what happened Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with the Kansas City Chiefs. A whole bunch of draft picks, a bunch of undrafted free agents, a lot of invites. We'll do our best to go through it. And at the end of the day, I think everybody seems to be happy. So, gentlemen, first and foremost, how was your weekend? Did you get any time off on Sunday? Because I didn't.
It was long because I was covering the draft and updating all the social media.
Yes,
so I didn't get everything out there, so it was a long weekend just covering the draft. And a lot of guys, some guys that I seen, and then I thought they'll probably get drafted, like Triggs from Baylor. He went undrafted and got picked up by the Bears, not the Bears, but the Cowboys. And also Michael Burks. I didn't see Burks sliding that far down because he was neither to be in the second round, but he slid all the way to the seventh round. Went to the Indianapolis Colts. Reggie Wayne went to go pick him up.
That's a good spot. That's a good spot for him.
It's a really good team for him.
Yeah. So, other than that, man, a lot of Chiefs fans saying that we got our new Justin Ross. Do we have our new
Justin Ross? Do we brought up Justin Ross?
I'm just saying, the kid that we picked for Cincinnati. Is that our new Justin Ross?
My guess is that we kind of glazed Justin for several years, and he had all these accolades coming in. Now, it is a huge difference, right? I mean, Caldwell is a guy that is just athletically gifted. I mean, all his body type, the numbers, everything compares favorably to Megatron. Okay. Yep. Except for the fact he never really produced at a high level. Now, there's many different reasons for that, but I think it's just, I think what people are saying is, hey, we're just going to glom onto this guy like we did to Ross, feeling that at some point he is going to burst onto the NFL and he's going to be this great player. And it remains to be seen. But again, with all those athletic traits and just the ability that he has, you got to be a little bit excited because of the fact that the Chiefs don't have anybody like that.
Yeah, he can leap tall buildings. If you saw his video of him climbing up the parking lot structure, I don't know if you have that, Hense, but that was I thought that was AI. I thought there's absolutely no way that's true.
No, that wasn't him.
Seriously, you go back to this past combine. This was, I think, as a group, the most athletic group that I've seen in 20 years, maybe longer, or maybe ever, because of how fast they ran, how high they jumped. And all the athletic numbers were off the charts in this past combine. And Caldwell was one of them. And he kind of got buried because Sadiq and Stowers and Sonny Styles and his brother and everybody else kind of like went nuts. So, this kid's exciting. Now, again, with UDFAs, and I said something, I think Hense, we spoke on the phone maybe Saturday, maybe. And just be careful with some of these UDFAs, until they actually sign the contract.
Yes.
They're out there, right? So some other team come in and scoop them up. Now, most agents will want to, adhere to the agreements they've had, but hey, money talks. And until the team puts out the official list, just kind of let's pump the brakes and hopefully they get the guys that they want.
Yeah, usually the Chiefs wait till about Tuesday. At 3:00 today, the deadline passes for free agent signings that go against the draft compensation. So there's already been some rumblings of some potential players that could fit into the Chiefs scheme. But what I thought was interesting, before we dive into the draft itself, what I thought was interesting in the free agent class was A, how many wide receivers, and B, how many running backs. They got a lot of young talent, and that tells me that they're going to be focusing very heavy on developing wide receivers and fixing the run game. And I think the Chiefs are going to carry 4 running backs this year. I think there's a possibility they carry 4 tight ends this year. So it could be a little bit different than we've seen in the past. And I don't know who put the post up here. Let's see. I want to make sure I get it here. Veach did his number in the draft. Okay, that's not it. Hold on. Here it is. Demetia said it, and I wrote this in my column yesterday or this morning. The Chiefs took a lot of guys that don't fit their prototype, and maybe that's the problem. They have to go outside their comfort zone, and with a better coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball, those coaches probably had some influence and say, hey, let's not do the same thing. That's what got us here in the first place. And let's go outside the box a little bit. And even, the edge rusher in Thomas. I mean, that's not a guy that the Chiefs draft. That's not a guy that Spags, that's not his typical defensive end. But, Lou said it, speed. And if you look at all this draft class and a lot of the undrafted free agents, there's a lot of speed, and I love it. I like the change of approach. I don't know if there was a power struggle with Veach, with Andy, with Spags. But it sounds like Veach had a plan and said, you know what? We're going to try something a little different. It's my ass on the line. And I think generally, the class grades are pretty strong. And I can see every one of these guys making the final roster.
Different coaches too. So
Yeah,
you had a lot of different points of view. And
much needed.
Obviously, that was something that they took to heart. And it seems like, again, I think they had an idea. Now, Ryan Nutt spoke today, VP of Player Personnel. And after the fact, who knows? But the bottom line is Delane was certainly a target from the start. So I don't think there's any question that was a target, and they were going to go ahead and get him however they needed to. Then it just became, I think, it just kind of the way the board fell. It just happened to be a lot more of the defensive players were available that they liked were available when they picked, and it kind of went that way. Again, that's what he's saying now, but again, it's just from the outside looking in, it looks they definitely wanted to upgrade the athleticism and just the speed and juice, defensive line, defensive backs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of the Cardwell, he got his numbers from the combine. Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, so Jeff Caldwell, we talked about this wide receiver since obviously at 6'5". Everything in green is like the elite numbers here. And the RAS, or relative athletic score, this goes back, I believe these are rated players like over the last 20 years. So basically having a 10 score of the, I don't know how many receivers that have been drafted over the last 20 years, obviously Jeff would be at the upper echelon. Now, again, this doesn't take into effect anything else. It is just athleticism. So take that with a grain of salt. But there's only so many humans that are built like this, right? And that can do these things. So, and that's what I had mentioned Megatron. That's it. It all compares favorably. Now, Calvin played in a kind of run-first offense at Georgia Tech, so it wasn't like he was getting a bunch of targets either.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with Jeff Caldwell, but you got to be excited about just the body type, the athleticism, because there is no one on this Chiefs roster, especially in the receiver room, that has these types of gifts and abilities. So.
They haven't had a productive, tall, physically. The physical prowess kind of, wide receiver. Dwayne Bowe is probably the closest thing that they had to a guy with size and athleticism. But, Caldwell is off the charts. And, I'm not, I didn't know what RAS meant until, this came until it was posted yesterday. And I think for me, when you look at this, what I like about the Chiefs is they're looking to stretch the boundaries of the roster. They're looking for competition. They're looking under every rock, and they're getting guys that are coming here. I mean, the fact that they signed two free agent running backs, or maybe three, coming here after the Chiefs drafted their backup running back.
Also, Emmitt Smith's son.
Emmitt Smith's son came to the Chiefs. I mean,
he's been in college. It seems like 6 or 7 years. I don't know. I mean, he's been around forever. Stanford and maybe some other places. I don't know. The most interesting one to me is Jaden Ott from Oklahoma. Now, he had been at Cal, was an outstanding player. I don't know what was going on in Oklahoma last year, but I got to believe that DeMarco Murray had something to say about this in the room.
And he was in Murray's doghouse last year, too.
He coached him, so I think he has some idea kind of like what he's looking for. So I don't know. Was it DeMarco's doghouse? Was it Venables? Was it what? Who knows? But he was a hell of a running back, very productive at Cal for like 3 or 4 years. Cal.
Everywhere but OU.
So that's an interesting one to me because of the connection with DeMarco as his coach.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So with that said, man, we're gonna go ahead and get in these grades. We're gonna start off with Nick, man. What grade did you give the Kansas City Chiefs draft class this year?
Well, I think overall it's definitely an A for me. I think.
Oh my God!
Look at that! Look at that! That's an old picture. The Dustin and Debo show from the Warpaint Illustrated days. Woo! That's a hell of a long time ago. Hence, you scare me sometimes with your.
That's a lot of dark hair there.
That's when I had hair and no bald spots. So there you go. That was another marriage ago too. So hey, you never know. I mean, yeah, definitely A-. I think overall. I think, Delane definitely an A, no question about it. Instant starter. It's going to shut down one side of the field. Dave Merritt's going to have a lot of fun with this guy. Spags is going to have a lot of fun with the guy. I really love it. You look at his tape. He closes the gap. He finds the ball. He has his face forward when he's defending. And that's something that the Chiefs cornerbacks have not done very well. And I think that's based on their athleticism. Not as much coaching because they're afraid to get burned or they're just not confident. But this kid is going to get in the face of the receiver. He's going to break off a route if he sees the ball. Yeah, that's what you want. So I'm all in. I like the pick. I'm over the fact they lost the 3rd round pick because the rest of the draft was so outstanding that I think they turned out okay. Peter Woods, A-. He's a beast, and in the right system and in the right freedom, which I think the Chiefs will give him inside and outside along with Chris Jones, it's a pretty good 1-2 punch that they can count on. Put him in the middle in short yardage situations, passing downs. They can put him on the outside, give Chris Jones a rest. They got Norman Lott from last year, so they've got a rotation guy. I think he'll probably put on the 12 or 13 pounds that he shed last year. Maybe the Chiefs want to be a little bit more physical. And of course, Hense's guy, R. Mason Thomas. I mean, I think he's as close to. I think he's a Von Miller type. They kind of have similar attributes. They have a similar style. How they go after. I can't put him in the Derek Thomas class yet. Not even close. But I think Von Miller is really who I look at him, and I say to myself, this is different. He gets underneath. He has the ability to get outside. He has the ability to go inside between the guard and the tackle. Again, not something a lot of the Chiefs pass rushers have done. Jaden Kennedy, probably my lowest grade B+, because I'm not sure where they're going to play him. I know he's versatile. He can play anywhere on the in the secondary safety. He can blitz. He can play corner. You can play the slot. You can play outside.
That one there, Nick, I think that's a direct reflection on Shamari Connor.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of, in my opinion, that is probably his spot to lose. Even coming in, I just saying that as a rookie, and just the fact that Shamari is disappointed overall. I mean, he's had his moments and so forth, but he hasn't, I think, settled into that position as well as they would have liked. And I think that's where this kid is going to shine because he is so versatile.
Yeah. And my favorite pick in the second day, Emmett Johnson, the running back from Nebraska. I was shocked that he lasted that long. I think he's going to be. I think he's already the number 2 behind Kenneth Walker, the second or third. Sorry, I want to diss his family tree.
Yeah, come on, Nick.
Sorry about that. But rushing attempts, yards, his ability to go inside, outside, his pass catching ability. He's got great speed. He's got that line of vision at the line of scrimmage that can recognize where the blocks are. He can be patient, and he's smart. And you know what? He understands get positive yards, and he knows how to elude tacklers. He's great out of the backfield catching the ball. And I'm really this kid to me was the biggest steal of the 5th round, probably one of the biggest steals, in the draft. And Cyrus Allen, the wide receiver, I'm not as high on this pick as some other people are. I think he's got a lot to prove. His route running is decent. He plays all slot. So we'll see how the Chiefs develop, but he's going to have a lot of competition for playing time, and I think that's going to be an area where Chad O'Shea is going to have to find 6 wide receivers. And if Tyreek Hill signs in June, it's going to be a very crowded wide receiver room. There's going to be some stiff competition, and there may be a surprise cut there. But I think he's got a big ceiling. I don't think he's going to impact the Chiefs as much this year as potentially next year. And then, of course, the quarterback, Garrett Newsmeyer. I mean, what was he? He was rated the top quarterback heading into the 2025 season, potentially, as a guy who would be drafted in the 1st round.
Yeah, it depends on who, who was listed.
It's the eye of the beholder on this one, but
I'm saying like Dante Moore and Arch and those guys were rated ahead of him, and that's when when nobody knew they weren't coming out. But he was rated very, very highly. That's 100% a value pick, and I'm guessing that the Chiefs took him because they're figuring, hey, if he goes UDFA, we're going to have to get in a bidding war. So they use the 7th round pick. Not a lot of guarantees in that, but a young guy that they can develop.
Yeah, I think it. Again, a terrific. Patrick Mahomes is going to get a chance to mentor it. I think the Chiefs are kind of done with, the veteran quarterback. They want a young quarterback that can truly be a backup, a guy who can grow in the offense, a guy who's smart. I mean, his dad's the offensive coordinator, for the New Orleans Saints, and apparently the Saints didn't want anything to do with him, and that probably was the pressure of playing with his dad more than anything else. But they
drafted Tyler Shuck last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think they really.
I think that's a terrific pick. I think he's a good fit for Kansas City. And again, they need bullpen arms and OTAs, mini camps, training camp until Patrick Mahomes can be full speed at practice. So for me, again, I think the Chiefs did a terrific job. I'm glad they went outside the comfort zone. That was so important to do. And I just applaud Brett Veach for doing it. He's won 3 Super Bowls. We all talk about, he should, he's made some mistakes. He still won 3 Super Bowls. He still won, is responsible for all the Super Bowl appearances in the modern era of the Chiefs. And he's going to ride the coattails of the Mahomes decision for the rest of his life. And that's fine. I'm good with that because I think it's going to pay dividends for the fans. So for me, I mean, even Pete Prisco, who does not like the Chiefs, gave Kansas City what, an A+? He gave him an A+ in this entire draft. He had nothing negative to say about it.
That fact alone, it really gives me pause. So,
so with that said, man, let's get into Lou's, man. What did you give him, Lou?
Roll the graphic. I believe it was a B+.
Look at that.
Yeah. And there he is, ready. I'm a free agent, man. Ready to take off.
Is that Mahomes?
The Rams. Yeah, Patrick's having a little bit of a beer, but my loyalties are up for bid for the first time in 50 some years. I give him a B+. They didn't take any of my red dots. I mean, what are we doing? I can't tell you how many times they passed on them. They all went about where they were supposed to, which was I shocked myself. But No, I really like just about every move that they made. You know, I guess we're contractually obligated to give a grade, a letter grade, even though these guys haven't taken a snap or any of that stuff, or we don't know what the Chiefs board looked like. So we'll take their word for it that things went kind of the way they wanted. But I think they did well at every single pick. You know, I mentioned a couple of things with some of these players, but Delane, once the injury was such a big issue with McCoy that, you know, it was kind of neck and neck with Mansoor and Jermod McCoy. And once that injury came to light, and again, it's not going to affect him today, tomorrow, or maybe even next week or next year or in 4 years in terms of McCoy, but they're afraid that at any time that thing can go and then it's a total reconstruction. It's just a big mess. So anyway, I thought this kid was the best corner in the draft, even with McCoy in it at full health. So, and they talked about it, just the versatility of being able to play off, to play press, to play zone, to do any number of things, to play in the slot, to play outside. So there's really nothing not to like about this kid. Now, you can fault them for giving away some capital, but there's a good chance that one of those teams, you know, the Saints or the Commanders, might have grabbed him if he was available. So they did what they had to do. They didn't expect to be up in the top 10 anytime soon. So let's get the guy that we want, one of the top 6 players on our board, and let's go to work. So no, that was a great pick. Woods, that's the kind, I don't want to say boom or bust, because I think that really his floor is a little bit higher than most people think, but just look at him. Again, God doesn't make too many of these guys. And, you know, we kind of had this love affair with Caleb Banks. I mean, this is virtually, I don't want to say the same player, but pretty damn close.
Yep.
I'll say it again. Was the top recruit coming out of high school, played exceptionally well as a freshman and a sophomore at Clemson. And then things kind of went a little hinky last year, lost some weight, but Clemson had like 9 guys drafted, right? And it was near the top. I mean, you had like Alabama, like all these programs that were in the college playoff were like in that top 10 of guys, number of guys drafted in this draft. And then you had Clemson and Penn State. So a lot of talent at these schools for some reason or another, coaching, whatever the hell it was. But I think Woods has a chance to be a great player. And the fact that he gets to play next to Chris Jones, I mean, that's going to, you know, Joe Cullen, Chris Jones. I mean, he's got a lot going for him. If he's willing to put in the work, and it looks like he, you know, by all accounts, they did their homework, they did all that. So he's going to be a good player, and we'll see just how high that ceiling is, because it really is high. And that's just, you know, he hasn't like hit that full potential yet. So it's kind of scary in some regards, but it's scary in a good and a bad way. But I believe that was worth the pick at that point. What can you say about the second round pick, right? It's a gold jacket. Hence, move to the next guy. No, our Mason type. Yeah, he is a different body type. You know, are they going to use him standing up a little bit more? I think they're going to have some flexibility with this kid. So as an edge rusher, they don't have a guy like this on the roster, and they haven't in quite some time. So I'm excited about him. I gave Hense a lot of grief the other night because, of course, I've never seen him so excited in all my time on this show.
Yeah, this giddy up going.
Now, tell me this, Hense. If Cleveland didn't take Denzel Boston, the pick right before then, and the Chiefs were sitting there like staring at both of them, who's the pick? Who do you want?
He can't do it.
I go R. Mason Thomas because that was my second.
Oh my God, you were chosen for a wide receiver. So
I told
bad.
you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't take the jump.
So that was interesting because Cassius Howell was there too, kid from Texas A&M, and supposedly a similar type player. but and Zion Young also was there, but again, he favored more kind of the old, or I don't want to say old, but the previous archetype for the Chiefs defensive end. So they went against the grain there, but I like it because they did go against their grain, and they get somebody that they don't have anybody like that on the roster. So that's all, to have different curveballs you can throw with different schemes and moving them around a little bit. That's going to make him an even better player because of the coaching and just the scheme that the Spags run. So yeah, I like this pick a lot.
Again, and he's got one job to do on this defense. That's to get after the quarterback. It's not going to be overly complicated for him to do anything outside of the norm, what he did at OU. And I'm sure DeMarco Murray had a lot of input, onto what kind of player.
Yeah, I'm sure, as far as from a character perspective, he saw in practice from day to day and all that, how he was in the locker room, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that's that's why you want some fresh blood in your coaching staff, and some of them coming from the college ranks, because they've either recruited a bunch of these guys coming out in the draft, they've coached some of these guys coming out of the draft. So that's nothing but a win-win, and not to mention the fact he's probably pretty damn good at his job. So let's go, DeMarco. OU. Boomer Sooner, baby.
There you go.
All right, what about Candy? What you guys say?
Kennedy, I talked about him when Nick was going. It basically just reiterates the same things. Versatile player. Yes, he's a little smaller. I liken him a lot to Keith Abney. That was one of the red dots. It was a very similar type player. 5'10", very versatile, can play outside, can play inside. I think they'll look for him to play more of the inside and be that guy, that kind of star player that they wanted Shamari to be. And Shamari will still get his snaps and still play. I'm not, completely crapping on the kid, but I think this guy might be a little bit more versatile, a little quicker in and out of his breaks and everything else that he has to do playing that position. So, they like them some Oregon Ducks. That
3 drafts in a row.
Coach Lanning is very good at coaching defense and defense.
And he's very good friends with Andy Reid. That helps too.
Yeah, he's from he's
from Kansas City.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's from the area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking at this draft for me, I gave him I think I go back to Lou's final grade was a B.
B plus.
You gave him a B plus. Don't short him.
But no, just one quick thing on Cyrus Allen, Nick. I'm going to beg to differ with you. His superpower is his route running. That's kind of what got him a late invite to the Senior Bowl. And then once he was there, and I think Ryan Nutt may have alluded to it as well, is that was what stood out. Like all of a sudden, this kid comes in late, and he's kind of beating some of the top corners, and he's doing it fairly easily. So that, I think that's kind of his calling card, and that's probably why they liked him so much.
Let me ask you a question: How much did Caldwell help him being on the field?
It's hard to say because neither of them really put up huge numbers. Now the quarterback, that Brandon Sorsby, actually he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks next year. And as a matter of fact, I think, and again, this is just a sign of the times, I think he's checking himself into a rehab because he's got a gambling addiction. So all these positive things and money that's being thrown around leagues and college, everything else, there's a dark side to gambling, and that's kind of what they're afraid of. But I think he'll be okay. But no, what I'm saying is, again, it was more a function of the offense versus that these guys are very talented players. And I'm not putting anything on Sorsby. Maybe the scheme, maybe just the schedule they were playing, ACC, playing Louisville, playing Miami, schools like that. But, they held their own and they put up decent numbers. They just didn't have, I think, like hey, we're going to run our offense through this guy.
Right.
So, yeah, it certainly would help to have a freak like that on the other side. Sure.
Can't hurt.
Yeah,
sorry, Hans. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Hans. Give us your opinions outside of the outside of Thomas. Go ahead.
Outside of Tom, but looking at Delane, man, the kid, probably the best corner since Sauce Gardner coming out this draft. I know everybody say Trent McDuffie, this and that, but This kid, his stats, it's not showing on here, but 0 touchdowns.
Woo.
You know what I mean?
Zero interceptions. Zero penalties.
The thing that stuck out with me was 0 touchdowns, 0 penalties. That means you discipline. You know what I mean? You out there, you playing disciplined ball, no intercept, no penalties on you or nothing like that. And the way he plays the ball, like you said, you got to get your head turned around. It gives you that, Derek Reeves From the Patriots type of feel to me. That's why I kind of looked at when I watched his tape. The kid, he ain't afraid to tackle, to get up in your face, cut off the guy that he's covering, and come down and and take out the other guy in different plays. Mm-hmm. This is what the Kansas City Chiefs needed. Chiefs needed a type of dog like this on their defense, right? A guy that actually can come out here. Again, we seen McDuffie. McDuffie days was over. I'm not taking shots at your guy, Lou, but McDuffie days was done.
Sounds like you are.
I'm saying on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, when Thanksgiving came around, he ate too much turkey that day because CD Lamb cooked him up, and it was over. I think that's when the Chiefs said the writing was on the wall for McDuffie, man. And hey,
they were never going to sign him to a long-term deal ever. It was never in the plan.
I didn't see that coming as well. Don't go get him a long-time contract. And Peter Woods, man, I didn't watch a lot of tape on him, but I've been digging in. I'm gonna dig in some tape over this weekend. To get some more takes on it. But the kid is pretty good. What everybody is saying. A lot of people saying they compared him to Dominic Sue from the Detroit Lions. Dominic Sue used to play for the Detroit Lions. Would you have to say that, Lou? Do you see that type of ability in that kid?
I think maybe parts of his game. I mean, Sue he produced a lot more at Nebraska than Peter Woods did at Clemson. So I don't think there's any question about that. And Sue, I believe, was a higher first round pick. I think again, Woods might have a higher ceiling than Sue did. He kind of got the most out of what he had in Dominic Sue. Woods isn't there yet because it's all there. I mean, if you're telling you watched a lot of Caleb Banks, I think if you watch a little bit more of this guy, you're going to see a lot of that, and then maybe even some more versatility where he's coming off the edge a little bit. He'll stand up every so often. So again, he's got all the tools. It's up to him, how much work he wants to put in, and because he's got the mentor, he's got the right coaching. It's all there for him. So now there was a lot said that apparently he bought his parents some kind of high-end SUVs.
Yeah, he bought his aunt and his mom
right off the bat. Now, again, I don't know this for a fact, but he did have it. It looked like he had his draft camera and everything, his draft whole show, if you would, at a car dealership. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of something going on there as far as
that could have been his college. That could have been his college too.
Hey, some name, image, and likeness was probably part of it. So I don't think he's completely irresponsible.
No problem
with his money. He's helping out his family. But anyway, no, he's again, everything is out in front for him to be a great, not just a good, but a great player in the NFL. He just has to put the work and the time in.
All right, guys. If you're 18, if you're under 18, please, guard your eyes from the graphics that you're about to see.
Oh my goodness! What is happening here?
From rated R.
Special voice? Do we need a special music?
No, it's just rated R. This is my favorite pitch.
Just get permission from your parents. We're good. Hey.
Rated R, man, is the best pick of this draft. I know I like Delane, but hey, this kid has been high on my board for the longest, man. I know everybody had Ruben Bang and this guy. I had David Bailey and R. Mason Thomas as the best pass rushers coming out this draft for the longest. Like I said, I know Nick said he don't look at him like Derek Thomas, but the span.
See, look at that move right there. The fact that he went inside the tackle, Karlaftis never does that. Ever.
George has responsibilities, Nick. He can't just rush all willy-nilly.
Hell yeah, he can.
But yeah, R.
He
Mason
went
Thomas,
inside the tight end. Come on.
Yeah, R. Mason Thomas is one of my favorite picks. If you like, I know I gave parking lot, but hey, AKA rated R. That's what his nickname is going to be for me. Like I said, that pick there for the Kansas City Chiefs, I give an A+. You know what I mean? Because like you said, if Veach did give his takes in that you can find pass rushers in the later rounds, and there was in the later round.
I gotta say one more thing for the accolades. When it's a good pick, when Skip Bayless, who is the most passionate Dallas Cowboys fan, said this was the best pass rusher. He should have gone to the Cowboys in the first round. He was pissed.
Skip is a University of Oklahoma alumnus. So yeah,
it doesn't matter.
You got to take that with a grain of salt. Well, no, I mean he's always honks his Sooners. Come on.
No, I know he does, but I just
answer your guys' question on Peter.
And Pete Prisco, same thing.
Go ahead and read it. Let's answer your question.
Wood's dad is a pastor. He works as a premier banker at Wells Fargo. Didn't come from a struggling family. That's good. It's important. And that's, John, you make a terrific point, because I think when you look at these draft picks, and we can dive into Hense's other picks here in a second, but I think when you look at these are all high character guys. They all come from productive. They were all productive in college. They didn't get in trouble. Nick Jacobs did a really good job of answering the draft picks. Why do you love football? And they all answered them the right way. They have the passion for the game. They have respect for coming to a championship organization. They all seem to be of a very similar mode as to what the Chiefs are pivoting toward and learning from their previous mistakes. And I think that's important. Case in point, Reuben Bain, just too much for the Chiefs to be willing to take him that high, or to fall back and take him. They thought Thomas might be available, so they waited it out. And I'm sure that if they felt the need, they would have traded up. But I like the way they drafted the type of player. They all have speed. They all have smarts. They understand what it means to be a Kansas City Chief already. And there's enough veteran mentors at each position to help all these kids out.
Yeah. Back to my.
Let's go.
It was so funny.
No, I said it too, but that's a nice way of saying there's some old guys on this team.
Well,
but back to
trying to spin it positive.
The third guy, Candyman. That's what I'm gonna call him. Candyman is out here. You see what he did? You see what he did out here? Your boy
Mekhi Lemon.
Mekhi Lemon, everybody wanted on their team.
On his ass.
He locked him down, man. That game, I went back to watch that game. I was like, dang, Mekhi Lemon is getting shut out by this. Everybody compared him to Honey Badger, right? The kid is out here, the speed, the awareness, to read deep, to read offenses and knowing what receivers are going to go. That is smart. I think the Chiefs, what they did this draft, they went and got smart guys to actually turned into $100 bills and back its bags.
There you go.
A lot of players mailed it back, but I think most of the guys mailed it back. The guys that
you
they
think
picked.
A lot of them went back in the trash to find. There was $100 in there.
These guys came out and did it. Great pick, and I like the wide receiver, man. I like Allen, man. You know what I mean? Standing by 6 foot.
110 at best. He's not a big guy. He's not a big guy.
But other than that, the route running. I know Nick said about the route running.
He is kind of Xavier's body type.
But the route running is there, right? The route running.
Oh no, that's kind of his thing. Yeah.
His thing is route running. You see that. You seen it at the Senior Bowl. You seen it at the Strong Bowl. You seen it at. You seen it also at the. Combine as well when they was out there running around. You see the kid was doing well, and the Chiefs. I think they Travis. I heard that Travis Kelce, called in and tried to get the Chiefs to actually pick him up.
Yeah. I don't know how much.
But that's what they said out there on social media. I don't know if it's true. But
no, I think it was actually Taylor Swift because they went to the Nebraska game at Cincinnati, Nebraska game at Arrowhead. So that's what social media gives us is just fine analysis like that. So yeah, Taylor watching that game. Hey, Emmett Johnson, get him. Cyrus, get him. Oh, who's that big dude on it? Is Caldwell? He wasn't drafted. Let's go get him too.
Well, speaking of Johnson, man, averaging, speaking of averaging 5.4 yards, he kind of looked like Kareem Hunt, right? I think this is Eric Bieniemy's pick here. You know what I mean? He had to be because the playing style is just like Kareem Hunt. You know what I mean? If you kind of look at it. The highlights.
You got to go back to like when Kareem came out.
That's rookie.
Still had some speed. The contact balance is there. Yeah, break a tackle, and he's good. And again, there weren't many running backs selected. I think one of the things that we had talked about was that we may not see more than two running backs in the first 2 rounds, and we didn't really. Right. So. And there really weren't that many.
There were 2 in the first round, right?
Overall drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Love and Price basically at number 3 and at number 32. Go ahead. I'm just going to take.
I like that pick as well. Also the quarterback. I've been banging the drum for the Chiefs to draft a young quarterback. You know what I mean? Stop bringing these young old guys in. Bring competition at each level, right? I know he was picked in the 7th round, but hey, it's nothing wrong with a little competition. If you put him out there and he's got competition, and they're not gonna be looking, to sign Justin Fields long term. I don't think so. But this kid has a big arm, the ability to escape the pocket. His throwing balance is where he should have been in the first round if he came out last year. You know what I mean? But the kid is amazing to me. When Brian Thomas Jr. and all those guys was there, Malik Neighbors, when he had all those guys with him, they was eating up ground out there. And this kid is an amazing quarterback. Now I know he had a spinal injury or some injury that he had going on with his spine that made him fall in the draft. But other than that, man, the Chiefs finally got a guy that they can groom as a young guy. So when that last pick in R. Mason Thomas, hey, I give him an A+.
All the way around, huh?
A+ draft.
See, there's no crazy pictures of you. It's just this class, perfect Heisman.
I didn't get no crazy pick for you.
Your wife picked that one out.
In the eye of the beholder. So just going back to the running back thing, there were 0 selected in the 2nd round, and there was 1 selected in the 3rd. So that I think he fell pretty much where he was going to fall, and maybe had a chance to go in the 3rd, but you saw a bunch more coming off in the 4th. But not many after that.
Got themselves Washington. That's a good pick too.
Yep.
I like the pick though. I want to see what he do. I think he's gonna come out, and I'm gonna go on a limb. I don't think this kid gonna come out and win. He's gonna be the backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. I think he's gonna beat out Justin Fields. I'm just going to go on the limb and say it, guys. I think the kid probably come out.
I don't think he'll have. Hence, you may, after watching, kind of think, okay, he's kind of outplayed him. He's not going to have the opportunity to win the back.
He could be an injury.
Now, again,
he could be an injury season.
Fields would have to come in and completely fall on his face because he's going to. I mean, as soon as they touch the grass. Whenever it is in the next week or 2, Fields is going to be taking all the snaps for the most part. Maybe Hainer gets a few and Oladokin maybe a few, and then Nussmeier. I mean, he'll probably see his most action if are they doing a rookie camp or not?
Yeah, this weekend. Yeah,
they are doing a rookie camp. So he and if they're I don't remember if I saw any UDFAs that were quarterbacks, but I would imagine they need to bring some, or maybe they just like a camp invitee where they don't actually sign them, but they just come in and just to have another arm out there.
Mm-hmm. We got a question here. They said, which team didn't draft the best? Yeah, what team did y'all not going to
did or didn't?
Didn't draft them. Didn't draft well. The best. Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to say here, Jerome. The Niners had a little bit of a questionable draft in my mind. But again, that's what their scouting came up with. They normally draft
Jaguars. I don't think the Chargers
really well.
Draft.
The Chargers went all offensive line, did they? They went to go get all the big guys. They said all big offensive linemen in here.
Well, that's kind of their MO. But then they also drafted like the smallest wide receiver that ran the fastest time at the combine.
Yeah, I agree. Bills didn't have a good draft at all. I didn't get their plan at all.
I would say for me, looking at the draft board so far, I just say I didn't think the Broncos had it going, not just because they're in our division. But
they hardly had any picks. I mean,
I know they had probably picks, but
their first pick was 62. They traded out, so their first pick was in the third round. So, and they didn't have many picks. You know, I guess it is difficult. I would give them maybe a pass just because they didn't have many picks. But yeah, I think San Francisco was a little questionable. Miami was kind of weird, but that was that GM's first draft. But I think overall they still did well. It just looked a little bit different. But yeah, to me, San Francisco's was a little let's just say different.
Right.
Yeah, but Hurl is not here, but he did send in his draft grade.
Let's see his picture, Hense. What did Harold?
Look at that.
Look at that. That's his class picture from Syracuse. That's like, hey.
He said an A-. He said he liked the Marcus Lane, and he also said A- as well because they brought in his favorite tight end,
John Michael Gillenborg.
Yeah, so they brought in.
Well, that's not part of the draft grade, Hense.
That is an undrafted free agent. We will have some news on that front. We are working on something special to where maybe the Kansas City product will be chatting with us soon.
So with that, where do your red dots go, Lou? I'm gonna bring up your board. Can we name like where do you know where all?
Some of them I wrote down. I want to say Hurst went to Tampa. I don't know if he was like the third or fourth round. A bunch of them went like in a row. Kyle Lewis ended up with the Dolphins, so that was one of those picks. Kilgore, I didn't write down the team, but they went pretty quick. Reggie Virgil, he might have gone to the Dolphins too. He was a wide receiver from Texas Tech. Kilgore was the safety from South Carolina. Grayson Halton. Let's see. I can't remember which round he went. Wheatley. Yeah, I didn't write down the teams of these. I mean, they all went. I think Caden Curry was the last one. He went in the 6th. But like Jacoby Lane ended up going in the 3rd round. And then right next to him was I want to see who was the tight end. The Oscar Delp went in that round as well. Igbinosun went in the 4th.
It's only one guy that only went undrafted off my board.
I think Shelton went in the 4th. So yeah, they all kind of went where I thought they would, or close to where I thought they would. And I think the first night of the draft, I said Chris Johnson was probably the only one that had a chance to go in the 1st round, and he ended up going in the 1st round.
Yeah, that was.
And then I don't know if somebody was drawing inferences or whatever, but supposedly, if the Chiefs hadn't gotten Delane up at the top of the draft, that they were prepared to trade up from 29 to go get Chris Johnson.
Yep.
So what names? We're looking at all 7 of guys. What guys are y'all gonna be watching and like, okay, that person was on the board. Y'all could have took this person. I know you probably didn't agree with rated R Mason Thomas. Who was on the board, before that, or after that, the Chiefs, you probably thought the Chiefs could have took there.
For me, Boston was really strong possibility, and he got taken one pick before.
Yeah, he was 39 to Cleveland.
That would have probably been a tough decision, but I think the defense would have won out there. We've done how many mock drafts we do? 100. We just did so many, and you look at all these players, and then when the team finally takes him, it takes you a chance to step back and look at your boards and say, okay, here's the pattern. I don't know if they really missed out on a single player, because I think they hit their needs with guys for the most part outside of maybe the 7th round pick, the quarterback, and maybe Cyrus might take a little time to adjust. But my goal was 4 starters out of the picks, and they got that. So I think that's important to evaluate it this way. But I'm not going to second guess the picks. I'm not going to say they should have taken this guy versus this guy, because at the end of the day, their big board was geared toward a certain type of player, and maybe the guys that we liked weren't a certain type of player. They went different. They went bold. They did things they've never done.
Right.
In any recent draft, I would say in any Brett Veach draft, certainly in any Carl Peterson draft, you may have to go back to Hank Stram when he signed all these AFL superstars and put them on the Chiefs.
I'm gonna ask this question. You said, did anybody the Chiefs take any gold jackets? They took 2 off my list. They took Mason Thomas and they took Delane, Delane from from LSU. So they took 2 guys. So hey, I'm happy with the draft. I think I thought they'll put like some more offense in there, but we kind of see where they're going. It's more going to be a run first team this year. It kind of seems that way, unless the wide receiver coach should come out and get more out of Xavier Worthy and Thornton and Rashee Rice, and maybe they just have that guy in Royals, because we didn't see him all last year, right?
He may be the odd man out. Crystal, yes. Do you believe that they'll bring in Cam, Air Jordan, and Chester Tyreek Cheetah almost over the hill? I love it. I love it. You bring the takes. Yes, I think Cam Jordan after 3:00 Eastern time. I think we're past 3:00 Eastern time. The teams can sign veterans that don't count against the draft bubble and the draft picks. I think Jordan is, I would say, above 50% that he will sign a contract with the Chiefs on a 1-year deal. I think Tyreek probably be a post-June 1 signing, but I think he also will come to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs might wait a little bit till they go through some of the OTAs and mini camps. Hill has been in Kansas City, from what I'm told, working out, also working with Patrick. So I think all signs push them. But then it brings up another question. They've got a lot of young wide receiver talent that they're trying to find the best 6 or 7. So does Hill take a spot, or is Hill there because Patrick may not have the ramp-up time and he needs someone who understands how Patrick works? And these young kids, it takes a while. It took Rashee Rice a while. It took Xavier Worthy a while to understand what you're supposed to do when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, and to play that improv game, where Hill, he's already got it. So is he healthy enough? I would say there's a pretty good possibility that both sign with Kansas City. I think having a veteran presence at defensive end like Cam Jordan, he's 38, so if he gives you 6 sacks, makes 3 plays in the playoffs that stop a 3rd down or create a turnover, he's worth the $9 million price tag he's going to want.
Well, he got 10 sacks last year, so if he can bring that over here.
Again, give me 7 or 8, and I'm good.
Tyreek Hill, if he comes out healthy, you got Worthy, Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice, Thornton, Royals, and Allen as your receivers, who works it. I think they need a more of a big body receiver, man. And I hope this thing works out with Cardwell. I think that's his name. He's new on me, so well, the kid for Cincinnati. I hope it works out with him. 6'5", 210.
It'd be fun.
See what happens. Work out with him. If the receiver coach, he worked with Randy Moss, right?
Yep.
Hey, I'm just saying.
He's a pretty good guy to work with.
Maybe he could polish this kid.
And I believe his wide receiver coach worked with Randy Moss, if I'm not mistaken, in New England. So
yeah, we'll see. But now what on draft night? What guy did y'all really question, like with the Chiefs? What guy did y'all really question? I know it's Mansoor Thomas with Lou, but
you would question as far as
like, what are you doing here? Well, like, what are they doing with this pick there? Like,
I didn't.
Yeah, the
only
Chiefs,
interest I
there
had
really
was the
weren't
first round
any.
was the trade in the third round. That's it.
There really weren't anywhere you as far as just in general in the draft. I think the biggest one was Simpson going 13. That was a little bit of a shocker that the Rams would, were going to do that and so forth. But then the other one, I guess, your guy, Caleb Banks going 18 to Minnesota. I mean, that's like your boom or bust pick in 18. And after they've kind of let almost their entire defensive line go, then they end up on draft day making the trade for Jonathan Grenard for 2 third-round picks. One was the other night, and then one next year. Then you can go throughout the draft and just kind of look at. There was a receiver that was a Caleb Douglas that Miami took. I want to say in the 3rd round. That was a little bit of a. You would think was a little early. I would say. I mean, I guess putting it lightly, but again, I mean, they see things that obviously the schlubs like I don't. So hopefully Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech turns out to be. But there was a bunch. There was other guys that were more highly regarded. But again, you never know how their boards are shaped or who they value and why they value them. So yeah, but as far as the Chiefs picks go, there really weren't any that were like, oh my God, what are they doing?
You did Mason Thomas.
Well, because you were, I mean, it was.
He was just counterbound. He was just counterbound.
The glaze. I'm surprised anybody could still see the screen. There was so much glaze being shot out of there, but again, I mean, really outside of, again, in my mind, the alternative would have been like a Gabe Akis, but again, much bigger guy, and which would have been the kind of like the archetype that we're used to in terms of that position. Zion Young, again, bigger guy. So that's it. That was my thinking as far as the Chiefs is they're gonna kind of stick to their plan here and go with that type of guy. So that was really the only thing. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get a lot more flexibility and a lot more versatility with this kid than you would have with them. And not so much that I said, well, I have to have this guy. It's just that, hey, these are the guys they typically draft. So
right.
Yeah. Looking at the Rams pick, a lot of people, kind of throwing that one under the bus because Matthew Stafford there, but they did the same thing with Patrick Mahomes got drafted when Alex Smith was here. They was like, Patrick Mahomes ain't had no footwork.
Wait a second.
He don't have that.
Hold the hell.
I'm not comparing it to Patrick Mahomes. All I'm saying is
Matthew's like a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he was the MVP last year. Alex, God bless him, all due respect, never in the same.
I'm just saying, like, nobody.
I know
knows
what you mean, but the thing is, they were looking to upgrade at that point. It wasn't like, hey, let's bring in this kid and see how he does, and maybe he'll be the heir apparent. It's like, this kid's gonna be our guy. And we're gonna let Alex kind of continue for this last season. And looking back on it now, it probably would have been a good idea to have Patrick play that year. So,
but I give
whatever.
I gave the Chiefs A+. Also, the Eagles. The Eagles did good too. I think the Eagles did good on their draft board as well. The guys that they brought in.
Yeah, I mean, Howie does his thing, I mean, and I don't know if it was all the way through, but yeah, the move that, jumping ahead of when the Steelers had Mekhi Lemon on the phone, which again, they're not supposed to do that, like only the team on the clock is a lot, really. So anyway, they get what they deserve there, but no, he's, that's just the way he rolls. He kind of has a lot of picks. He trades for future picks. He stockpiles them, and then they kind of play. Nick was talking about the free agent compensation thing. So the idea is today at a certain time, 3:00, that whoever you sign now doesn't go into that equation. Because if you sign some guys right through free agency, and you didn't lose anybody, you're not going to get any comp picks, right? Or if it's the other way around, you lost some guys,
right,
and maybe you didn't sign up to part, then you get some comp picks. But anyway, no, how he works the board, he does well with it. Veach does too. It's just that he's a little bit more measured in it. He doesn't stockpile picks as much. But when they have some to play with, he normally does. And there you go. He did it. Went up and got his guy.
So
Mansoor Delane.
Yeah, I like that pick, man. I think he's gonna be like Darrell Reeves. I'm gonna give him that. I don't give it that high, but I think he's gonna be the best corner since Sauce Gardner coming out of the draft. I know McDuffie, was in the some drafts before, but I like that pick. They're going up to get him, a guy with that speed, physicality. Welcome to the squad. Now I want to see what these jersey numbers are going to be, and I want to see what.
Hey guys, I got to roll. I got a family thing I got to get to, so you guys can carry the rest away. Talk jerseys.
Did they already throw 5 on him? Did somebody throw a picture out there on social that he's wearing 5?
I'm not sure. Jerseys is not my thing. Later, guys.
Be careful out there, sir.
Yeah, but as Nick Lee, the best. I want to see what these jerseys going to be, and also I root for some of these kids, and they drafted in a free agent class. Actually, make this team. I think this is the best undrafted free agent class that the Kansas City Chiefs had in a while. The guys that they brought in. I think me looking at it
it's not a completed class yet. I mean, some of those guys may sign elsewhere, so we got to wait for that. But if they get most of them, again, until they hit the field, you really don't know. I mean, just looking at it, some of the guys that went undrafted, you're like, wow. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe. But then we were even talking, before the show, some of the guys that slipped through the cracks or got drafted really late that were, you mentioned Deion Burks, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. We thought, that was, second or third round for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And for one reason or another, we don't know the reason, but he kind of slipped through. Now, again, his size is his size. He didn't get smaller, so that was known. And so there's going to be guys, but again, going back to your point, it has the potential to be like one player so far. And Jaden Ott, there's a defensive back from Houston, again, big RAS score. So again, I would put it this way: maybe this UDFA class has some of the best athletic traits that we've seen, in a while. But again, you'd have to go back and look at them. But every year they normally have like 2 or 3 UDFAs that make the team. I mean, Cooper McDonald was a guy that all of a sudden here he is, and he's probably going to get significant snaps this year because somebody's got to take up Leo snaps. I don't know if Jeff Bassa is the one to do it. I don't know if they view him as the same type of player, but Cooper McDonald certainly has a similar body type. So we'll see.
What guy you would bank on that they'll make the 53 roster because they don't want nobody else to pick them up?
That's going to be a tough one. I mean, just looking at names and whatever, if Caldwell shows that he can just catch passes, right? Like he's breathing, but he's running crisply, and he shows up and he's everything that you thought he was. I'm guessing that he'll be on the 90 through the summer, and then depending on how he does in camp and preseason games, I would imagine they because somebody's going to want to get a hold of him, right? If he gets cut, you would think, just because of the athleticism and all that. And if he shows anything at all in preseason, there's going to be a team that with a very high waiver priority that's going to try to grab him. So I would think he just kind of stands out from that perspective. But we'll see. Once they get on the field, there might be some other guys, and we have no idea.
Yeah. So also with the Eagles, they drafted a kid from that you brought up before on the show.
Yeah, he blew up the HBCU combine, and he showed up, and there was some posts out there, and I just happened to just mention it during the course of a show, and I thought, okay, somebody's going to bring him into camp, but hell, how he drafted him, like, screw it, we're not going to give anybody a chance to get after him. But yeah, he's like 6'4.5", 306 pounds, but you look at him, you look at him, he looks like 260, 250, 260. But everything, 225, he's throwing up like it's 50 pounds. He jumped like, I don't know, 38 inches or something. Like the long jump was like over 10 feet. Just like incredible numbers for somebody over 300 pounds. He ran under 5 flat. I think he ran like in the 4.6s or maybe even faster. It's just ridiculous. But he's never played football. So this is like, some people liken it back to when they took Jordan Mailata from the international pathway. And within 3-4 years, he's a Pro Bowler, all pro. So yeah, it's UAR is his first name. I can't remember his last name offhand, but he's from Nigeria. So he's from that IPP.
They said, Crystal Lee said, put Caldwell tight end. Put him at tight end, get a Michael,
Well, you'd like your tight end to be at least 250 pounds, and Caldwell's never going to be 250 pounds. But yeah, I guess you could.
But with that said, guys, we want to thank everybody for joining in. We'll be back Wednesday. Ain't got no red dots.
Yeah, the red dots. Either that, we can get started early on 27. Only 360 some days until next year's draft. So let's go. Maybe that'll take over for Chief Who. But
so
Chief Who, come on now.
In the chat, what do you got get? Where we got getting the Chiefs draft class? What y'all getting an A, B, L, C? What do y'all give it? Be incomplete. Put in there you can as well. We want to know what and the reason why. But I want to
hit us on the socials with that. Maybe go to Twitter and hit us up there, and then we can check the responses, and maybe we'll share those on Wednesday or Friday.
So with that said, guys, we'll see you guys Wednesday.
Yes, sir. We're back.
Peace. Loyal to the team, every victory we slay. Chiefs Blitz Podcast, where the real fans unite. Every touchdown score, we ignite the night. From tailgate chatter to post-game debate, we love our Chiefs, yeah, it's never too late.